everyone, it's me, Carol from Practical Mystic. Thanks for joining me as I continue my series, Who We Think We Are. It is based on workshop material as well as my interview with Dr. Judith Orloff and her book, here it is, Intuitive Healing, back in the year 2000. What I am sharing with you is in her book, part 2, where she talks about emotions and relationships, and that there are 4 empowering beliefs that will help us to grow, to heal. And that's what we have been discussing here in the series at this point. Today's empowering belief from Dr. Judith's book is: each of us has a unique timetable for healing. Dr. Judith Orloff explains in this chapter that she, as a psychiatrist, was taught that there are developmental stages through which humans must pass, give up, learn, and separate from as one grows and matures. Now, this is true in some respects, but we soon discover sometimes some things in life are processed and learned from a higher perspective. Now, the example that she gives in the book is a patient of hers that comes in, a well-known CEO who is halfway chuckling, and she says, but with an emotional tone, says, "I'm too old to be going through this in my 50s. I am now ready to deal with my overbearing mother." And from that, she tells us that at any age, there's a timetable for healing when we're ready on some level, and it is from a higher perspective. And that is, we all have an intuitive and spiritual timetable that cannot be forced. Each of us will grow in part by our own response to life experience. Some of us will deal with great pain, both mentally and or physically. Our path is unique and woven with complexities. Now, to fully become our greatest self, we must embrace that which we are given and seek to find its truer meaning. Now, in the workshop, the information then expanded and grew into areas of past lives, information about making contracts with those on the other side before we reincarnate. And Carolyn Mays also is a proponent of this, that we choose our parents. Louise Hayes is a proponent. There's many spiritual teachers and beliefs, especially in the East, and that we come back to work through these karmic ties, these karmic binds, if you will. And that is why it is so complex. We also have to weave in free will, many factors. So let's continue. In the workshop, then, I expanded it by going into understanding dualities. And that comes from, there are some of us who come back and work through mental disease, physical ailments, and others that seem to have an easier path this time around. Dualities may help explain that. It's also called the law of opposites. Life is full of dualities, opposites, as we learn to understand that each extreme in a duality is necessary. That is, each depends on the existence of the other in order to be fully actualized. I.e., I made an example. We cannot know cold if we do not also experience hot. Also in the workshop, I quoted Deepak Chopra. He seems to sum it up beautifully. Life is the coexistence of all opposite values, joy and sorrow, pleasure and pain, up and down, hot and cold, here and there, light and darkness, birth and death. All experience is by contrast, and one would be meaningless without the other. We can deepen our understanding when we don't suppress or resist the negative. When we acknowledge its existence, and I put in parentheses, we can also choose not to express it. This is so true in shadow work. We have achieved or embraced wholeness, which moves us to a higher level of consciousness. Now, this references us back to what Dr. Orloff is saying when we all have an intuitive and spiritual timetable that cannot be forced. Lastly, Dr. Judith tells us that there are layers of learning. You think you've dealt with your mother or whoever, and bang, you find yourself in another difficult situation and dilemma. This does not imply failure, past or present. There's just more to be revealed, discovered, and uncovered. It's a continuous learning process. She also says it's vital not to feel shame when these things happen. And certainly that was a possibility of the example of her client who came into the office and saying he was much too old at 50 to be dealing with his mother. He was almost feeling guilty and shameful. Dr. Orloff says that will not help us heal. Intuition teaches us simply to accept what presents itself, release the impulse to judge it or label it. It's neither too early nor too late for us to deal with what is being presented when the time is right. It's almost like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So friend, that is empowering belief number 3, that each of us has a unique timetable for healing. I hope this was insightful for you. If you have any questions on this or any of the other videos, I think this is video number 6 in this series. Yep, part 6. Please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments on this or any of the other parts of Who Do You Think You Are series. Hopefully everyone's having a great day. Thanks for joining me, friends. Bye for now.